Hello. Hello, welcome. How do you like the countdown? This is something I'm trying. So, um, it definitely makes it a lot easier on X in particular because the live stream's not scheduled. As soon as you go live, then it's posted on X. But when I do the countdown, I can now go in and do my replies with all the information that I need. So I don't have to do that like fumbling around in front of you guys. So welcome. I'm super excited for today. I'm happy you're joining me. Please get in the chat, say hi. I'm going to talk about a couple things. One is we're kind of like mopping up a little bit from last Sunday during my workshops. And if you missed my Sunday workshops, I do those as a live stream as well, Sunday evenings here on the East Coast at 7 p.m. And it's just kind of for social media, get some inspiration, some motivation, someone to kick your butt a little bit gently to hopefully get you to have a goal for the week. I'm not big into these competition things, but I do want to like be active, participating, doing something, have some intention behind what I'm doing. And so this is helping me as well. I'm like doing it along with you guys. So you can always watch the replays on those. Those are on all my channels. You can find them. YouTube's probably the easiest. You can go to my YouTube channel and find the playlist and you'll be able to watch a review, or just go to my website and you can get everything there as well. Actually, the website's probably the easiest place because everything's there instead of having to click away. So I'd recommend that. I've also put in the description or in the comments or in the replies some of my supporter links. So StreamYard is the platform I use for these live streams, and it's just really been amazing. It's just been amazing. And so I highly recommend it if you're thinking about doing live streaming at all, or even recorded webinars or live broadcasts of any kind. I recommend it a try because it's definitely the most intuitive, easy to learn, simple. You can do the basics really well. And if you're not looking to do anything like new and inventive, crazy, just want to do a live stream, get your voice out there, utilize the power of live streaming because that's the future of a lot of these that social media platform. It was video, now it's going to be live streaming is the next thing. So if you want to start getting into that, start dabbling with it. I recommend StreamYard. That's what I use. I've also used Restream. That's another one that's very good. So you can look into either of those. But my link to StreamYard gives me a little referral bonus for recommending it and supports me in the work I do. So I'd appreciate it if you use my link. And I can keep doing this for you. Otherwise, I'm going to have to get a job and I won't be available. I won't be able to do it. So I'll be too tired. So up to you guys. So thank you in advance. Um, all right, so I'm going to go into the workshop stuff a little bit because I'm going to talk about the homework. And then I also had this really cool conversation with AI this morning. Yes, I talked to AI. If you're not doing it, you might want to try it. You might want to try it because the people who do it, you can get a lot out of it. And it's not something I'm doing every day. I don't have it next to me all day. It's not like that. I use it this way when I have an idea or a spark or something and there's not like paper next to me for me to write it down, I pick up my phone and I start a conversation format with the AI, and I can use ChatGPT, but I also use this new one, Hume, Hume app, which is a little bit friendlier one. And I've been enjoying talking to that one. Very good. And so I can get the idea out. It can kind of conversate with me in a way that's more than just taking a voice note, because a voice note is just you, whereas something coming back at you, there's something about that that opens up some more new ideas, new thoughts, new inspiration, and takes it maybe in a direction you weren't thinking of. So I had this idea to ask, to say like, okay, did I see it? I saw it, I think on my, I know what it was. It's crazy how things come together. But I was watching on YouTube this morning an interview with Daryl Hammond, who is a fascinating comedian, very tragic life, but very fascinating and talented. and he does this amazing impression of Phil Donahue, and that's a little bit of a deep cut, like, even for me at my age, like, Phil Donahue was, like, I was very young when that was on, but he was very good at conversation. His interview style was very good. The way he was able to interact with the audience and the people around him and get, um, I don't know, it just was a very, at the time especially, a very unique and interesting style, and it was, like, the birth, I guess, of that kind of talk show format, I think. There were probably people before him, but more in that formal talk show or variety show, whereas his was really different and innovative at the time. And if there's anyone in the chat who can explain it better than what I'm doing, please drop your thoughts on Phil Donahue in the chat. Anyway, so I wanted to analyze that style because now it's like, what, 35 years later, 30 years later, and think like, okay, what was he doing then that I could apply to what I'm doing, learn from? And so I talked to the AI about Phil Donahue and his communication style. So I've got like a page of notes here of what I learned from it. I gotta tell you, it was like a mini masterclass. So this is something that is a hot tip for people. If you're trying to learn something, and you can talk to the AI, but here's the tip, like, think of a person who's the expert at it. So I could think of other talk show hosts, or other great communicators or interviewers, and have the AI help me analyze that person and their techniques and what they do differently, and why do we respond to them? Why does that engage us? Why is it, and really get down to it. And you can keep pushing the AI into that conversation, go deeper and deeper. Because the first lap around is always very surface level stuff, very obvious. And then you can kind of get in there and get a little bit deeper on the topics and the subjects specifically that you want to get into. You can get really, really good, valuable information. So I got some fantastic stuff on Phil Donahue's interview and communication style that I think we all take very much for granted today because it seems like a lot of the stuff, it's like, oh, okay, this is fairly obvious. But oh my God, there's the hugest deer fly in here, a horse fly. It's a horse fly. Oh my God, it's enormous. I tried to kill it earlier. I missed it. I want to shoo it out the window, but I'm doing this right now, so I can't. All right, so that's a hot tip for AI. So you can think of someone like, okay, who's the pinnacle of X, whatever I want to be learning about, and then you can talk to the AI about it. What makes this person special? What was it that they did differently than everyone else at the time, right? Because I think that's relevant, especially when you're looking at like historical figures or people from the past. You can even look at people now that are at the top of their game and ask, like, what are they doing differently now that makes them stand out apart from everyone else? So I'm going to get into what I learned from that because I think there was some really valuable information for communicating. And if you want to try doing live streams, these things will help you. If you want to try doing podcasts, interviews, you want to try and do group Zooms, even if you're just someone who has to do meetings and stuff, these will be very helpful tips. And then also, if you want to do what I'm doing a lot more of lately is the spaces, these audio spaces, similar to Clubhouse, where you get in and you start talking. And hosting that is a different format. So, I wanted to learn how to do that better. And that's what prompted this idea of looking into it. All right. So, hello to everyone. Please say hi in the chat. The people usually watching this are people you want to connect with and follow, etc. So make sure you get in the chat and say hi. We're going to go back to the workshop goal of the week that I showed off on Sunday. And if you missed it, come to the next one or watch the replay. Was to create a post for each account that we decided that we might want to focus on. And then we're going to leave that up for a day and then look at the interaction engagement and which account on top. And I did this for the 3 that I'm, 4, I guess, 4 that I'm using, but I forgot one, and I just forgot it again when I was just saying this. So I thought of 3, but there's actually 4. And I already know what the engagement and the results of this was. because there's one platform that I'm using already as my primary platform. I've already kind of made that decision and ran with it. But this is mostly for people who are maybe on a toss-up. They're not sure which one they should use. If you post the same post to each platform, you can kind of discern where's the most engagement, where's the most interaction, where are people commenting. If I get in there and reply, are people interacting with me? Are they following me? Are they interested in what I'm putting out? So for me, this just was going to go for a few more seconds. This is my loop and field video in the background, which I'm so proud of, and I get to reuse for these little interludes. There we go. Um, so I posted to X, which is my primary platform, and that's where I got the most interaction. I'm just gonna reveal that right away because that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at all day. I'm hanging out all day on there. That's where I'm spending time. That's where I'm doing a lot of interaction with people. I'm making connections. I'm networking. I'm posting. I'm commenting on people's posts. I'm just enjoying myself over there. That's where I'm spending my time. So of course I'm gonna have the most interaction. But I also posted the same post on Instagram. I got 1 like, maybe, I don't know, maybe not. Instagram is tough putt, boy. Oof. And then, I posted on Facebook as well, and I got 1 like there. Um, so that's tougher. My Facebook feed is friends and people I've worked with and stuff, so it's a little different audience. I'm gonna be using that differently. I just post on there to inform you guys who are watching this on Facebook what I'm doing and what I'm up to, so you can join in if you want to. So I do need to post more like personal stuff on there, uh, but it's a time thing. So I post on those three, but you know what? I forgot one. I forgot to post on YouTube. YouTube, because YouTube has the community post feature, and that gets underutilized. We've got Alex in the chat, nice to see you. Thank you for joining. And anyone else, please say hi. And if you have questions or you want to talk about websites or anything else, please, this is you have full ability to completely derail me. I'll just keep talking, but you can derail me in the chat and we'll talk about whatever you want. I also offer the idea if you want to submit your website, you want me to just take a look at it and give you some advice, tips, tricks, things you might want to look at to improve. I don't do a full roast. Like I am funny and I appreciate humor. I say I'm funny. I hate people that say they're funny. It's like the worst, the absolute worst. But I appreciate humor and I like roasting and stuff, but I can't take it, so I don't give it out. So don't worry. I don't give out what I can't take in general. There are exceptions, but if you want that, I will take a look at it. We can show it on the screen here. There's right now I've got 40 viewers. So 'cause I'm streaming to YouTube, Facebook, and X. So I've got a bunch of viewers. You could get your stuff in front of a bunch of viewers, have me take a look at it, and give you some advice to improve it and do better if you want that. So feel free to do that. Drop that in the chat. Um, and then I was talking about YouTube, the community posts. Boy, I can get derailed. I can derail myself pretty quickly. Community posts are underutilized on YouTube, and there's something going on YouTube. They understand that community is the future. I think they get that. Communities are the future. And what does that mean? Well, that means when you are a YouTube channel, this is probably the most relatable and understandable one because I think pretty much everyone at some point or some way you watch YouTube. If you have a YouTube channel that you really like and you want to get more from them, you can become a member if they are monetized, right? So if they have subscriptions, memberships, you can pay them for additional features, videos, exclusive live streams, things like that. Emojis, I think they have. There's a lot of some serious coffee at the bottom of that. I need to stir. So, with YouTube, community they understand the direction of community. The one thing that lacks, YouTube is that next step of all your members on your channel, all the members of the channel connecting. They aren't connecting on YouTube right now. You might go back and forth in the comments, but, you know, it there's nothing it's very disjointed in that way. It's very hard for people in a community, you would call it a community, a membership community on YouTube, for the people in there that probably have a lot in common because they all like this channel, they all resonate with the channel and the person, the host, whoever the channel is, the brand, whatever it is, it resonates. So they have that in common. Of course, they're gonna get along in some way. You know, they're gonna want to interact, make friends. So that's the community features that are missing on YouTube. And so who fills in the gap for that? We have Patreon. So like every YouTube channel almost now has a Patreon as well. There's a few others that are similar that do the same type of thing, or like Buy Me a Coffee. It's another one. And their Buy Me a Coffee is really ramping up their community features. So YouTube's paying attention to this. They're a little late. You know, this stuff's been going on for a long time. It's been slowly bubbling. And you can tell because there's no more wild place to hang out than Facebook groups. Like that's the most wild west, interactive, hilarious, scary, informative, you pick an adjective, place on the earth than being in a Facebook group that's like a topic or an interest that you have. So that we already know about. Those have been around forever. I mean, when did those come around? 2010, maybe even earlier. And they've always been popular, and it's an amazing marketing tool. Amazing marketing tool. You can laugh, ha ha ha, Facebook, whatever. I mean, they have groups, communities down. They have it down. So YouTube's a little late to the party, right? So, but they are paying attention to this. They are going to be adding community features. They've already beta tested with a couple creators. I don't know the names. I don't remember who they were. I didn't recognize them. They aren't ones that I follow. But they had something similar to a feed where you could see and interact with other members of that channel. So the members, the paid members, not just subscribers. I don't know. Maybe it is just subscribers. I don't know that for a fact. But anyway, they're going to be testing this out and heading that direction. So this is where stuff is going. And I didn't utilize the feature. So the community posts is something. If you have a YouTube channel, you need to start doing community posts. It needs to be part of your routine, your social media thing. If you post here and you also cross post there, you want to be cross posting as well to the community posts on YouTube. Okay. And any short form videos that you do, put them up as shorts, and just they're gonna live there. That's where they're gonna live. And then that way you're ready, you're established, you have the content. So when it starts ramping up, you're used to it. You're ready for it. Okay. So I forgot to do that. And I'm just talking about that because I want to do that as well. And do that more. Because I'd like my YouTube channel to grow a little bit. I don't know, 40 subscribers and like a few more. I don't know. But that's a hard one to crack, a YouTube. You really, it only takes is one video to either answer a question or tutorial or be on something that's relevant or just a fluke, of content that just happens to bubble up and then it shows up in Google search and you get all kinds of views. Then you can get subscribers and monetize pretty quickly. Um, beyond that, I'm not a big YouTube strategist, but that is really the name of the game. So the more you use it, the better. And we have Sharon here in the chat. Hi, Sharon. Always lovely to see you. Always lovely to see you. It's just communities need to build with email lists. Yes, absolutely. Email list is all a part of this, and, I talk about this a lot when you're first starting out, no matter what. I don't care if you have 10 followers. If you're thinking about building something, if you want to build something, you need to have a way to start collecting emails. Like, that's the first thing you should do. So I talk about that a lot, and definitely recommend that. Even if it's you get 1 subscriber a week or a month, it doesn't matter. You just have it established so that if something happens, you're ready. You have it. And those people that follow you and resonate with have a place to go to get more. So if you start sending out newsletters and stuff, and having a small email list is a great way to practice, and find out what works when you're doing newsletters and stuff. Yeah, and, so I highly recommend that. That's one of the reasons why I kind of preach what I do about websites for content creators is just, like, just have something for people to get the information they want. You know, just have something, a little bit about you, like, get to know you a little bit better. They're not gonna troll your feed and find it out, you know? And a way to collect emails, newsletter, something. You can give away a freebie if you wanna entice people, but you wanna keep it in your world, your orbit. Yeah, yeah. Oh, is it? I don't have one, yeah. Yeah, you should have one. You should have one because even if you don't have anything to say at the moment, you have something that strikes you and you wanna put out an article or whatever, wouldn't you want, "Hey, it's 15 people." My email list, I've restarted and rebuilt all 1,000 times because, like, I've changed things that I've done over the years. But so my email list, I don't know, last time I looked is like 20 people. But if I have something that I'm doing, I wanna let those 20 people know what I'm doing. They're the ones that wanna know, so they wanna be put that to their inbox and find out either what you're doing, what you're up to, or if you have, like, an article that you wrote, they're gonna wanna read it. You know, those are the people. They don't people. All right. So, and yes, I can help with that, by the way. That's, like, a lot of what I do. So if you guys need help with figuring out how to set up an email list, I have a free course on my website for card, CARRD, template, everything, walk you through it. You can, of course, use your own template, or start from scratch with something else. I just kind of walk through it with my template so you can kind of get the principles and all that. All right. I'm gonna now dig into my conversation about Phil Donahue. Yeah, yeah, the links, for my website and everything is below the video in the replies. It should be there. And all my stuff is the card template and, course is free, and it's I broke it up into little snippets so you can watch, like, the individual parts if you want, if you kind of are familiar with card at all. Oh, yeah, and Beehive, okay. So you have Beehive. So this is another one, like, there's so many of these things. I I did the tutorial with card because I was like, "Okay, this is the barrier to entry that's, like, basically 0." You know what I mean? Like, it's free, start if you wanna start collecting emails with it, it's $49 a year, you know, with the setup that I have. So it's like if you're starting, there's no reason to pay. Uh, so it's the one I did, the course I did is just a walkthrough for the most basic, just your time, you know, and you can probably all the videos come out to 2 hours, so it'll probably take a little longer than that to do it, but you kinda get that's all that the investment is. It's $49 a year for the card website, and then whatever your website URL is, whatever you pay for that, if it's, you know, whatever.com. So I'm gonna talk about my Phil Donahue lessons learned from the AI conversation I had this morning. So I talked to AI this morning, I asked it, "Why was Phil Donahue so good at what he did?" Now he's a talk show host in the '80s. If you're from out of the country or not familiar with, prehistoric US pop culture. But he was one of the first, I think he was the first, maybe one of the first, who did that style of talk show format where you had the audience kind of at an angle, microphone, guests up on stage, walking around, asking questions, letting the audience ask questions. It was a very innovative style at the time, um, and I wanted to learn more about him, so I had a conversation with the Hume, Hume, AI app, this morning to find out more, and because I wanted to be better in spaces and on my live streams and interviewing people. I wanna interview people more, and so that's what I wanted to learn. Um, I'm gonna just answer Sharon's question real quick. So this is Card. It's not a newsletter provider, no, but it's a place you can put your website and have it collect. So I can in the videos that I put out, I connected with Email Octopus, which is free for up to 2,000 subscribers. It's absolutely free, uh, because it's such a base little thing, but you can put in your Beehive, connect it to Beehive. So it's just a website platform, but it's very easy, very quick. So you can either just use Beehive on its own and send people there. I'm not super familiar with it, or you can connect like an actual website. So if you had SharonAIWonders.com, for example, and send them there to an actual website that has about you, and then hey, you can sign up for my newsletter. It's a different presentation, or you can just use Beehive for it. So I hope that clears that up. So what did I learn about being a good speaker, interviewer? What did he do that was different? So one of the first things that stood out was that he has audience participation. And I think there's a lot of stuff that he did or started that we now take for granted and see it every day and everywhere and kind of just expect it out of how we communicate in interviews or what we see on television and stuff. And the audience participation is a big one, because that was not a thing, I guess, until before he started. And now it's almost a given. We expect it. And I was thinking it's about spaces, and it's like that's why it's such a wonderful platform on X, the spaces, is because of that audience participation. They can come in and add their thoughts, ask their questions in real time, live, not edited. No one's screening anything. I mean, I guess you could, right? But in reality, most of it is just kind of off the fly, off the cuff, what happens. And what he did was with these people giving the audience an opportunity to chime in, he rarely interrupted. So you letting the person speak, say what they want to say or ask the question they want to say. And then what he did, which was something that we can all think about, is after the person finishes, to paraphrase what that person said or reframe the question and present it to the person that it's directed to. So taking control of that conversation, interpreting it into what the person was trying to say, because maybe they aren't a professional public speaker or someone that's comfortable doing it, so that maybe some of what they were trying to say got lost. Us taking that, paraphrasing it, presenting it again, and then letting the person respond that it was directed to. So that might seem like a controlling type of scenario, and maybe doesn't need to be done all the time. I haven't seen anyone that really does that, um, because it might just be, like, too much, but I think it's something to consider when you get one of these people that does go on for a long time and people start to zone out and maybe forgot the original point at the beginning to then, once they wrap it up, paraphrase the important bits and then present that as a new question that is the intent of the person who is speaking. So that was a very interesting point that I learned. Also, the active listening part, which for me is key, because as soon as I stop active listening, pay attention, it's on spaces in particular, because of all the things that are in front of me distracting me, um, I get lost very quickly, and so I always have a notepad to get me back. But I'm getting better at it and getting better at it. But spaces is tough with that, with the active listening. For me in particular, I don't multitask very well, so I do get that. But within that active listening, having thoughtful follow-ups. So maybe not just ending the conversation. That person made a point or asked a question, and then either answering it or addressing it or paraphrasing it and then moving on. Instead of that, maybe sitting with that person again for a couple of beats, a couple rounds back and forth, and allow the conversation to unfold a little bit naturally. That might be tougher in spaces when you have a lot of people on stage and a lot of hands raised because you feel like you wanna go around and get everybody. But I think that might be something that, um, would be worthwhile, looking at and, really instead of just, saying, "Okay, thank you, next," kind of thing, break down what they said, paraphrase it a little bit, ask a thoughtful follow-up question of that person, and then maybe once that point has been, made, move on to the next one. So that was something interesting that I learned there. Uh, let's see. The next one was to be genuinely curious, and this one is, I think, for hosts in particular, but I think of speakers as well on Spaces or live streamers, or if you're having a podcast interview, being genuinely curious about the person, the subject matter, what you're talking about, I think that's a very key part. So, with this curiosity, you want to be able Phil Donahue would respectfully challenge. He would he would play devil's advocate at times, and but always in a respectful way. So that kind of nuance I think is important. If you're genuinely curious about something, you're not gonna just take what the person is saying and just say, "Okay, that's cool, got it, thank you, next." You're gonna take that in, and you're gonna put it through your brain, filter it through what you know, and then maybe come up with like, "Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying here, but what if it was like this in a respectful way?" Or, "Have you considered this?" Or, "I can see why you would say this, but" and things like that, to challenge people without being, aggressive or Mm, condescending, that kind of thing. So you can let people maybe justify what you object to in what they said. So that and I think that all stems back to being genuinely curious about the person, the subject, whatever the discussion is about, and then also that impartiality, um, that avoids, really any kind of you wanna be vague, I guess. Well, Phil Donahue wanted to be, and I kind of try to be that, vague and really, if something is divisive, what side am I on? I don't want it to be m the my opinion show. I mean, that can be your angle, and that's what you wanna put out there, but you have to understand if that's your decision, that's your decision. Um, but I think for a lot of us, we kind of wanna just be objectively looking at a subject and not, maybe taking sides. I don't know. That's just me. I'd love to know what people think about that. If that you think taking a side is more important these days so that you can get reach, or is it being like, "No, I just want the opinions to be expressed, to get down into the details of why these opinions are being expressed this way, how they're formed, what's their, reasoning, and what backs them up," and then just leaving it open-ended that way, um, with the host not actually having a direct opinion on the subject. So that one's a little bit more complicated, especially in this modern age, but it was complicated at the time too. There's always been political issues and sides to take. Mm. And another thing that he was, especially good at, and if you're just jumping in, I'm talking about this conversation I had with AI about Phil Donahue and why he's a great communicator. He was very comfortable in silence. He allowed time for a response and allowed any emotional statements to rest. So if someone had something important or emotional to say, he would leave the blank space to let that simmer, people to absorb it without discounting it or interrupting or diminishing that moment. So he was very good at that, allowing that silence to set the mood, set the tone, okay? And this is all also a part of his authenticity, style, even though it was kind of formal, you know, he wore a suit and everything, he was very authentic and, came across as such. He was very casual in his conversation, he was very genuine in how he talked to people, he liked to keep topics in based in some sort of reality instead of, fantasy or speculation, or, gossip, right? Even with the celebrities he had on, it was a very conversational, uh, interaction. So these are all some really great things that I learned, and I'm happy to share. I was very excited with this because I feel like this is amazing stuff to share with everyone here because I encourage you to really try live streaming and really try, talking in spaces on X and connecting with people that way. It's been really a lot of fun, and I do enjoy it quite a bit. Oh, Christopher jumped in. You missed half of my, talk about the Phil Donahue. So, Phil Donahue AI analysis, which is I've been learning a lot. So, the last thing that he was very good at was he came across as when it was a subject that was presented or a new person. The chat box will derail me if you chat and make me laugh. That's why I laugh because the chat derailed me. Okay, I'm not recapping everything, but I will say he had the ability to, whether he was talking to a celebrity or he was talking about maybe a subject in the news or had an expert guest, whatever, he would learn along with the audience. So even though he would prepare and be very well informed on whatever subject they were discussing, um, he would always ask questions that someone who has no knowledge about the subject would ask. He would show genuine surprise or, enlightenment when a, particularly good, piece of information came to light, and he would also, never talk down to either the guest or the audience at any time, so he was always, always on the same level as everybody in that room, and I think that's something that is very powerful and people will forget. And you can do this in spaces, you can do this in live streams. I'm not assuming anything about the people that are in my chat or watching right now, other than that they are awesome. That's all I know. That's all I know is that you're definitely cool, you're definitely awesome, and you're watching this. So beyond that, I don't know. I don't know where you're from, your background, your education level, you know, all of that. I don't know anything about that. I don't make any assumptions about that. How much money is in your bank account? Don't even try and guess. It's not important. I'm talking like I would talk to anybody, and I would expect anyone to understand wherever they're at in their journey in this rock, okay? So I really liked that he did that. He did that. That's very important to me, and I think that's one a lot of creators content creators and stuff that I resonate with is they provide the information that they know as experts. They could be someone that's been doing the same thing for 20 years or more, but they present it to me like I can understand it and not get annoyed with that. And there's different creators and people who create content that don't do that. And I don't particularly enjoy their content. And because I have to do work to be able to enjoy and listen. Um, Oh, well. Oh, well. I mean, I'm a casual listener, I'm a casual viewer, for most things, and I don't expect that from any of you watching here. I would love for you to jump in the chat, say hi, and participate that way, but maybe you're just casually watching and you just enjoy listening to me ramble. That's fine too, you know? So I'm gonna just keep talking about it. Um, yeah, and yeah, Christopher has a good point here. Yeah, he um, never come into a conversation with agenda. Yeah, people can always tell. Right. Exactly, and that's something that he did Phil Donahue was especially good at. He, was very empathetic to everyone in the room. So, he never put himself above or below anybody, and he also was able to convey, a sense of humor, to lighten the mood a little bit, just to break up sometimes serious subjects, just to cut through it just a little bit, give people a moment to reset, and I think that is important too, and somewhat of a lost art. I'm not saying I'm the best at it, I certainly am not, but I do try when things try to get serious, I do try and make a joke about it to kind of just reset things, um, because I don't know. Sometimes it's like, if it's a serious conversation, that's fine, you know, I'm happy to make serious conversations, but the humor is what makes everything, human to me, you know, so just a little bit of humor, and he was very good at that. He was also very self-deprecating in the humor, so that's a good tip, because if you want to be funny in a conversation that's serious, um, if you're making fun of the other person, it's probably not gonna work unless you know them and you're okay and you're on that kind of level where you're like, "Okay, we can just rib each other and that's fine and it's not a big deal." But if you put it on yourself and make the joke kind of you make yourself the butt of the joke, then it's like everyone can enjoy it and feel okay because you gave them that permission because it's yourself. So those are all the things that I mean, it's a masterclass. I mean, seriously, this is like, incredible stuff that I got from talking to AI about just one subject. Why was Donahue such a great communicator? What was he doing that was different at the time? What was he doing then that is different than now? I wanted to do something that I knew would work and that I could learn from someone who is really great at it, that I could apply to make myself better, right? So that's why I did that. And I thought his style would do very well in spaces because he was very interactive. And that's where I want to get better at hosting spaces. So I wanted to share that. It was really cool. Let's see. All right. That was for that. And then I want to again remind everyone that Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So do the math wherever you're at. He is my social media workshop week 2. You can watch week 1 if you missed it. It's YouTube's probably the easiest place, or my website. You can go to my website, find Create and Connect workshop because it's all about creating and it's all about connecting. That's we want to create stuff and we want to connect with other people. That's what we want to do. That's what social media is for. Uh, those two things. If you're using it differently, then that's why success isn't or growth. I'm not gonna say success, that's different for everybody, but growth on these platforms is you're missing one of those things or both of those things. So that's on Sunday. I hope you'll join because this one's gonna be one about, finding your unique value. So if you're struggling, "What do I post about? What would people wanna know about me? What who am I to put myself out there? No one's gonna wanna hear what I have to say. That this one's for you, and it or if you already are kind of, like, established and you're not sure you kinda lost your path or your direction, you're not sure, or you wanna change directions, and you're not sure, or you just want maybe some more guidance and stuff. So that is on Sunday. I highly recommend it. Finding your unique value. I'm gonna get into that, and it's gonna be, you know, a good one. It's gonna be a good one because this one is something that I experienced this past year. I did the work for it, and it's changed my everything, like, changed everything for me, and it's, so I wanna share that with you. I wanna share that with you. Yes, you can put something in the chat that's ridiculous, I'll see it, and that'll make me laugh. It doesn't mean I'm gonna put it up on screen every time either, you know, so that's a game we can take if you want to do that. Alright, so if you wanna join the workshop on Sunday, you can set up reminders, et cetera, wherever you're watching this, you'll find it. And, and and meet the awesome people in the chat room. There's the greatest people in this chat room right now, or greatest person, someone that entertains me daily. So there we go. Let's see, what else can I talk about? I've got a few. I was hoping someone might wanna put their website in or anything. Um, let's see. What can we talk about? I could show, um, maybe some examples of I could talk about how I'm trying to get people on Instagram to go to X, and I think I'm the person to do it. I could talk about it. I know Phil Connor. I know Phil Connor. I know Phil Collins. I know Phil, uh, yeah, I know too, right off the bat. That was pretty good. I'm giving out the good info. I'm giving out the good info. Um, all right, now more people are joining and I'm completely like distracted, but I'm gonna be going for another 10, 15 minutes. So if you want to put in the chat your website, you could take a look at it. I've got 70 people watching right now. So you could get your website and what you do shown to 70 people if you want to do that. And I'm actually very nice. Oh, Phil Hartman, that was a good one. I didn't I remember him. Oh, he's so funny. Oh my God, so good. So good. So you have the opportunity to put that out there and people will see it. I'm very nice. I'm very generous in how I critique and audit things. So you don't have to be afraid of that. Also, I guess we could talk about the email newsletters thing a little bit more because we had those questions earlier and um, I talked about it a little bit, but I was kind of distracted by my other thing I wanted to get into. So I think I'll go back to that because I think it's a topic that everyone should be paying attention to and listening to and doing is having an email list. And if you're don't think you need an email list, you're wrong. There's no question about it. You need an email list. Um, they all start at 0. They all start with nobody on them. They all start with no idea what we're gonna do with this email list, but you need to start it. Um, how do you start it? Well, there's tools, there's third-party tools. Um, I recommend Email Octopus for people who are first starting because it's very easy. It's very easy. Very intuitive, it's very easy. Simple, free. It's free. It's free. And that's the one I recommend for people starting. Will it be the one you use when you have 5,000 people on your email list? Probably not, but it's very easy to migrate when you do. But you can get up to 2,000 people. Let me pull up the pricing here. 2,500 subscribers. I can screen share. And I'll show you why. Okay. Okay, so free. Free. Okay. They have their branding on the emails, but it's not bad. Not bad. It's at the very bottom. It's fine. You don't get all the data and reports and stuff, but look, if you have a small email list, you get the data from that email list and you wait a week, write down the stats, and you get an idea. You know, it's not gonna change. Even after a couple days, you pretty much have your stats, and you can log these into a spreadsheet, track of things if you're really into that. You can create landing pages and forms. So meaning if you don't have a website, you can even just sign up with Email Octopus, start with them, create a landing page with them, start sending put it in your Twitter profile or X profile, your Instagram profile, and just start sending people there right away, um, and start building an email list, like, there it is, right there, right, and then you can send up to 10,000 emails a month. So if you had maxed this out, you had 2,500 subscribers, you could send 1, 2, 3, 4 emails per month to that whole list for free, okay? This is what I'm this is what I recommend to start if you have nothing, because there's no reason not to. It this takes is very easy to set up. You have to do some verification to make sure you're human. That's because of spam laws and regulations, particularly from places like the EU, very strict on this stuff. So you have to do all that, and that's not email octopus, that's just laws they're following. So you have to do all that and make sure you're set up properly and verified, and then you can start collecting emails. And if you have a little bit of ability, tech ability and knowledge to be able to get around, build, with builder tools, like you can use Canva, for example, or some of these other programs, you should be fine making your way around here and figuring things out. Now, the next step up from this is having a little website with this on it, with the form on it, so you can design the website to look how you want and get like me, katefly.com, make it whatever .com you want or dot whatever, and putting that on there with other things. So like a little bit about you, um, maybe your latest posts or something that you're working on, some pictures, stuff like that. So I have this on my, I have the whole tutorial walkthrough on my website, so I go through building a website from scratch with cards, adding the email list to it, all of that, so you can get started. And you're welcome to check that out. Maybe I'll share that screen so you can find it. Let me share that screen. Whoops. Oh, yeah. Okay. No, I did that right. So if you go to my website, start building, you can go to assisted DIY here, and you'll see the card library template free. You can sign right up, and you get a template, and I walk you through everything. Oh, I didn't screen share it. Sorry. Let me go back to my home page, start building, assisted DIY card, or just type in the top free course. And I think I have it linked below as well. So if you go to katefly.com/free-course, and that's linked below the video wherever you're watching it, uh, you can get it here. So you can get started if you want. I did it already for you. Have to watch it. All right. So I think that's about it for now. I'm gonna go full screen again. Yeah. Uh, Thanks everyone for watching. It's been a lot of fun. Some great people in the chat. Always enjoy seeing my friends in there. Been a lot of fun today. Had a great space this morning, talking about trends and AI and all the stuff with as far as for artisans, makers, creators. This whole people who make physical things. Uh, I'm very passionate about that, and I want to give those people a voice as much as I can. So that conversation this morning was fantastic. We got into some great subjects, and that's really cool for people. So those are every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Those are on X only, but you can get the links. If you don't have an X account, you can go to my website and get the links and find your way around. And you can create an account, get in there, and just start listening. Start listening and see what if you like it. No, you don't. There's no obligation to anything, but you might learn something. You might enjoy the conversation. I also do the live streams. every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and then again on Sundays at 7 p.m. I wonder if I have a little banner. Do I have a banner? No, I didn't do that. No. Um, Sundays at 7 p.m., social media workshop. On this Sunday, the 21st, talking about finding your unique value. Do you like that pause? Because I didn't know what I was gonna say, but it sounds dramatic. Try to just leave the open space instead of the "us." It's hard to do, takes time. I do the pause and I look away. I need to stop doing that. That's a bad habit. I need to stay here with you guys. So, these are things that I'm trying to do to improve, and I hope that we can all grow together. So, I'm excited to have you with me. Thanks so much for watching. Um, Please reach out to me anytime if you have any questions about anything I talked about today. If you have any thoughts, do you have anything else you'd like to add about Phil Donahue that you think he did exceptionally well? Let me know, and I'm gonna see you next week, and I hope I'll see you Sunday. Have a great day, everyone.